يبيد ولا يكون إلا ما يريد لا تبلغه الأوهام ولا تدركه الأفهام حي لا يموت وقيوم لا ينام يقبض الله تبارك وتعالى الأرض يوم القيامة ويطوي السماء بيمينه ثم يقول أنا الملك أين ملوك الأرض لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولا ند له ولا ضد له عز كل ذليل وقوي كل ضعيف وناصر كل مظلوم ومعطي كل محروم من استعز به أعزه ومن استعز بغيره أذله اللهم بدل خوفنا أمنا وضعفنا قوة يا رب العالمين وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا وعظيمنا وسراجا منيرا محمدا أكمل البريات كل القلوب إلى الحبيب تميل ومعي بذلك شاهد ودليل أما الدليل إذا ذكرت محمدا صارت دموع العارفين تسيل اللهم صل وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أولي الفضائل والكرامات أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة كل بدعة ضلالة كل ضلالة في النار. Alhamdulillah, respected ones, the topic to be discussed is another essential topic. The Prophet Muhammad said, أول ما يحاسب به العبد يوم القيامة الصلاة. The first thing that the servant is going to be judged upon on the day of Qiyamah is Salah. And under the Prophet said, إن آخر ما تفقدون من دينكم الصلاة. The last thing you are going to lose in your religion is Salah. Imam Ahmad ibn Muhammad al-Shaybani said, كل شيء ذهب آخره لم يبقى منه شيء. He said, anything that the last part of it has gone, then nothing of that thing is left. So Salat is very, very essential. But before we actually observe Salat, we need to take care of our amana. Because Abdullah ibn Masud said that أول ما تفقدون من دينكم الأمانة وآخر ما يبقى الصلاة ولا يصلين قوم لا دين لهم. The first thing you are going to lose in your religion is amana. The last thing that will be left in your religion is Salah. Some people will be praying, but they don't have prayer because there is no amana. So take care of your amana. Now, there is no how we can discuss about Salat without talking about ablution. Sorry, Ikhwan. Al-Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim mentioned the hadith of Abu Hurairah, where the Rasul said that لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. And Allah will not accept the prayer of any one of you, even if such person is in the state of impurity, unless and until he performs what? Ablution. Now, how did the Prophet ﷺ perform this ablution? Almost 19 companions actually brought narrations on how the Prophet ﷺ performed this ablution. And I'm going to mention these companions. After this class, I will ask you. Uthman ibn Affan reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Ali ibn Abi Talib reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Yazid reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Abu Hurairah reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Aisha reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Muawiyah reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Abbas reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Amr reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Umar reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet. Al-Mikdam ibn Ma'di Karibi reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Jabir ibn Abdullah did the same. Wa'il ibn Hijr did the same. Bilal also did the same. Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah did the same. Anas ibn Malik did the same. And also Abdullah ibn Unais also did the same. Al-Rubai' bint Mu'awwidh also reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These are the companions that reported hadith concerning the ablution of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the scholars said that all of them, the only riwayah that is authentic are just three. Among all the riwayat you have mentioned, is the riwayah of Uthman ibn Affan, the riwayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and the riwayah of Abdullah ibn Yazid. They reported how the Prophet ﷺ performed this ablution. So if your own ablution is not in conformity with theirs, then that ablution, there is a problem with it. Before we move forward, the scholars said there are two types of ablution. We have wudu'un khafifun, that is light ablution. Some of the scholars said it is called wudu'un duna wudu. Some of the scholars said you can call it at-tamassuh. Al-Imam Ibn Hibban call it wudu'un naf. Al-Imam Ahmad ibn Muhammad al-Shaybani and also Al-Imam al-Nasa'i reported in his Sunan, Al-Imam Ahmad reported in his Musnad, the hadith of An-Nazzal ibn Sabra. An-Nazzal ibn Sabra said that Ra'aytu Aliyan ata bitawrin min ma'in. He said, I saw Ali when he brought a bowl of water, a bowl filled with water. فَأَخَذَ مِنْهُ كَفًّا. Then he took a handfish from that water. فَمَسَى بِهِ وَجْهَهُ وَذِرَاعَيْهِ وَرَأْسَهُ وَرِجْلَيْهِ. He then used that bowl, that handfish that he actually took from that bowl of water. He used it to rub his face, rub his hand, and also rub his head and his leg. ثُمَّ أَخَذَ فَضْلًا فَشَرِبَ. Then he took the remaining water and drank it قَائِمًا, while standing. وَقَالَ. He then said, إِنَّ النَّاسَ يَكْرَهُونَ هَذَا. People dislike this particular act that I did. وَقَدْ رَأَيْتُ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ يَفْعَلُ. But I saw the Prophet ﷺ doing the same. He said, وَهَذَا وُضُوءٌ لِمَنْ لَمْ يُحْدِث. This is ablution for somebody that is still in the state of purity. So if you have performed ablution before, and you are used to performing ablution at every prayer, at each prayer, then this is the kind of ablution you perform. They call it wudu'un khafif. Jamal, do we understand this? Then we have al-wudu'u sabigul munki. That is the one we are going to be discussing about. The perfect ablution. This perfect ablution, the ulama said that you must get water that is pure and purifying. Do we understand? Before you can perform it. Now the scholar said there are 4 types of water. There are how many types of water? 4. Dr. Bakr Ismail mentioned this in his book Al-Fiqh al-Wadih min al-Kitab wa Sunnah ala al-Madhahib al-Arba. Said there are 4 types of water. We have water that you can use for ibadah. You can also use it for domestic purpose. We have water that you can use for ibadah, but you cannot use it for domestic purpose. We have water that you can use for domestic purpose, you cannot use it for ibadah. We have water that you cannot use for ibadah, you cannot use for domestic purpose. So which one is that water that you can use for ibadah? You can also use it for domestic purpose. The scholar said is that water that actually has 4 filters or 3 filters. That water that is colorless, odorless, and what? For such kind of water, you can use it for purification. You can use it to perform ablution. You can use it to take ritual bath, and at the same time, you can use it to wash plate. You can use it to do other domestic, activities. Then, which water is that water that you can use for ibadah, but you cannot use it for domestic purpose? The scholar said, is that water that contains little amount of impurity. Any water that contains little amount of impurity, such that the impurity has not actually overcome any of the features of that water, you can use such water for ibadah. But the scholars or the fuqaha, they said it is disliked for you to use such water for domestic purpose. We also have water that you can use for domestic purpose, but you cannot use it for ibadah. Is that water that is overcome by something that is pure? You can use it for what? Domestic purpose. Any water that is overcome by cowbell, can you use it for domestic purpose? You can use it, isn't it? If there is bread, you can use it. I hope you are getting it. But salt water, you cannot use it to do what? To perform ablution. But the scholar said the water that you cannot use for domestic purpose, you cannot also use it for ablution, is that water that has been overcome by what? Impurity. So now when we talk about ablution, which water are you going to use for ablution? Among these 4 types of water that we mentioned. The first 2 types. The first 2 types. Barakallahu fikum. The one that can be used for domestic purpose and ibadah, and also the one that can be used for ibadah, not for domestic purpose. Jamal, do we get to this concept? So now when you get water, the scholar said that you pour that water on your right hand, on your right palm. That is the first thing you do. You pour it on what? Your right palm. Then you begin with your right palm. You wash this your right palm and exceed your elbow, your wrist a little bit. Do we understand? You wash your right palm, you sat in between your fingers, you exceed your wrist a little bit. Having done that, you now navigate to the left. Do we understand? It's not the way some of us are doing it. We do it simultaneously. No. You do the right, then from the right, with the same water, you navigate to what? To the left. Do we understand? You have done one. You take another water again, you do the same. You take another water again, you do the same. You have gotten how many? 3. Then you now fetch water on your palm. Do we understand? You sip it. When you sip it, don't just sip it and pour it away. In Arabic, when you say mother, it means to actually to use it to run the water through your mouth. Is that taken? So when you sip the water a little bit, such that you have what? Some left on your palm. You sip it a little bit, you run it through your mouth, then you pour it away. The one on your palm, you now inhale it. When you inhale it, you use your left hand to do what? To exhale it. The reward of Ali Ibn Abi Talib. Is that taken? But some of us use our right hand to inhale and we still use it to what? Exhale. This is wrong. Jamal, do we understand? And also some of us, this one is also not part of it. So you do the same thing how many times? 3. Then when you come to your face, the scholar said you don't wash your face with one hand. You wash your face with your 2 palms. Is that taken? And you make sure that you sat in between what? In between all the joints there. You make sure that you sat in between them. You actually, scrub them thoroughly. You start from your forehead, down to, what you call your chin. You do that how many times? 3 times. Then you now go to your hand. In Arabic, when they say hand, it means from this place to this place. That's why Allah says, wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq. And even Allah said, wa aydiyakum, would have been washing our hand from ear to ear. Is that okay? So wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq, when you now come to wash your hand to your elbow, where do you start from? Some of us will go and start from this place. No. You still start from this particular place again to where? To a little bit above what? Your elbow. Is that okay? You do that how many times? 3 times. Well, like this thing I'm telling you, I will shock you. If I ask some of us to do it, we will not be able to do it. I could remember when we did this book with our chef, may Allah have mercy upon him, Sheikh Muhammad Bello Al-Adamawi, I ask Allah to forgive him. Well, like after this Sifatul Wudu in Nabi, when we finished the class, Sheikh came outside to perform the ablution for us practically. And I want to tell you that most of us there were all students of knowledge. But when Sheikh performed the ablution, Sheikh now asked one of us to perform before him. Wallahi tallahi. Even though Sheikh has actually performed the ablution before us, but there was still a lot of error. And there is no salat without what? Ablution. Ablution is the condition for the validity of salat. If ablution is 0, salat is 0. Jamal, do we understand that? So you do this in your left hand, and you also take it again. You do the same in your what? Your right and left. Then having done that, you go to your head. You fetch water. You see, from your forehead, you start from this, your forehead. You take it back. Then you bring it again back to your forehead. Then the remaining one, it's not that you're going to fetch another water. Is that taken? Although Abdullah ibn Umar actually gave that fatwa that you can fetch another water. And that's why the Malikiya used to say, وَتَجْدِيدُ الْمَاءِ. That when you want to rub your ear, you should fetch another water. But what is sunnetically sunnetic? Is that what? It is that water that you use to wipe your head that you also use to what? To rub your ears. So these 2 index fingers will be inside the ears, and this thumb will be what? Will be outside. So when you do that, you now go back to your leg. How do you wash your leg? Your feet. The scholar said you use this finger. They call it khinsar. You use it. You start from the small one. You dip this one into the small one, then the next one, then the next one. You pour water, you dip it into the small one, the next one, and that's how you do till you wash your leg to a little bit above what? Your ankle. Do we understand? You also do the same again to the left leg. Is that okay? So if you have performed that your ablution like this, you must make sure that you sat in between your fingers, your toes. And Imam Malik, one day they asked him that, Is it compulsory to search in between your fingers and toes? He said, no, it's not compulsory. Or something similar to that. One of his students, Ibn Wahbi, he said that after Imam Malik had finished, he went to meet him. He said, Sheikh, that fatwa you gave, we have hadith that is actually contradicting it. And Imam Malik said, he is also, Imam Malik was an engineer of hadith. He said, okay, quote the hadith. And Ibn Wahbi started by saying, Haddathana hadha. That is how they quote their own hadith. It's not like we. Do we understand? It's not like what we, that one want to quote hadith, we just go to Qala Rasul. No, they quote Haddathana hadha, Haddathana. So from those names that you are mentioning, they will know that this hadith is authentic or the hadith is weak. I hope you are getting it. Immediately you finish, before you will quote the hadith, Imam Malik says, this hadith is hadith al-Hasan. And Imam Malik accepted that. He went back and started giving fatwa that searching in between your fingers and toes is what. So you can see it was not pompous. That this is my student, how will you come and correct me? Do we understand? So if you perform the ablution in this manner, according to the word of Imam Tirmidhi, and you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. The Rasul said all the 8 doors of paradise will be open. Do we understand? So now you are set for what? For salat. If you are a male, you go to the masjid. If you are a female, you go to your room. But if you go to the masjid, no qualms. Nobody will hold you, nobody will hold that against you. Because it is permissible for the women to go to the mosque if there is high propensity that there will not be what? Fitna. But if there's going to be fitna, then it's better they stay at home. I hope you are getting it. And today, some of our sisters that are going to the masjid, they are only causing fitna to the brothers. Why? Because of the way they actually what? They appear. Because of their appearance. Some brothers will even perform ablution more than 5 times. Hey, may Allah continue to guide us. So you are set to observe what? Prayer. When you get to the masjid, what do? You face the Qibla. Oh? That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do. You face what? The Qibla. When you face the Qibla, the next thing you do is what? Takbiratu al-ihram. If you did not do this takbiratu al-ihram, you don't have prayer. Is that okay? After facing the Qibla, don't say now to adafar salati subuhi iqtida bi imam or ta'budu lillahi ta'ala. No, there's nothing like that. Allah Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin brought a very amazing story in Sharh Arba'ina Haditha. He said that there was a man close to a blind man. So after the Iqamah, when the Imam said Allahu Akbar, this man said, now to Ada Farud Salati, he mentioned the name of the Salah, he said Iqtida bi Imam. He wanted to say Allahu Akbar, that blind man, let's stop him. He said, no, don't say Allahu Akbar, tell Allah the number of saf you are. And tell Allah the name of the Imam, tell Allah the month, tell Allah the name of the masjid. Atu'allimuna Allah bidinikum wallahu ya'lamu ma fi samawati. Are you telling Allah about your religion when Allah knows all that is in the heaven and the earth? So you don't need to say now to or something. Intention, its position is where? It's in the heart. So you just say Allahu Akbar. And the way you say Allahu Akbar, some of us will say Allahu Akbar. Or you say Allahu Akbar. There are some people like that. I hope you are getting it now. You say Allahu Akbar. Is that taken? And as you are saying Allahu Akbar, you can raise your hand while saying Allahu Akbar. Either to your ear or close to your ear or your shoulder. Or you can say Allahu Akbar, then you raise your hand. Or you even raise your hand before you say what? Allahu Akbar. I haven't done that. You place your hand on your what? On your chest. The right palm on top of where? The left. Is that taken? Either you do it like this or you do it like this. Do we understand? Do we understand that? Then you do what they call du'a'u al-istiftah. The most authentic narration of du'a'u al-istiftah is Allahumma ba'id bayni wa bayna khatayaya. Down to the end. Or you can say Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, tabarak asmuk wa ta'ala jadduk wa la ilaha ghayruk. Having said that, you now say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Then you now say what? Bismillahir Rahman. So when you say Bismillahir Rahman Rahim, you not say it aloud. Go. You now start with what? Alhamdulillah. Now how do you recite Fatiha? Some of us follow today's Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. That's not how the Prophet ﷺ actually recited his Fatiha. Salama said that the Prophet used to pause at every word, but especially in Fatiha. Some of the scholars said you must complete that Mabdul Aridul Lissukum. You must complete it. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. You pause. Then you now take Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. You pause. Malik Yawmiddin. Down to where? If you are using the riwayah of halves, which most of us are using, when you get to Siratal Ladina An'amta Alayhim, you don't pause there. Connect it. Is that again? If you cannot hold your breath, say Siratal Ladina An'amta Alayhim Ghayril Maghdubi Alayhim. Then you come back again. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. This is the riwayah of what? Half. But if you are using riwayah warish, you say صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Do you understand? Then you continue. غير المغضوب عليهم. Because صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم is an ayah in the riwayah of what? Warish. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is not an ayah in the riwayah of Warish. In the riwayah of Hafs, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is part of what? Fatiha. So that is why every rakah you must recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. If you are using riwayah what? Hafs. But the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim will not be recited what? Will not be recited, alone. Jamal, do we understand this? So you take it one after the other. Don't rush. And when you are done, you now select a verse. فَقْرَهُ مَا تَيَسَّرَ. Don't go and carry a verse that is beyond your power. I hope you are getting it now. Or because, especially when you are leading people, be considerate. Some of those who fast, or some of those who are memorizing Quran, we use people for muraja. That's what we do most times. I hope you are getting it. I could remember there is a masjid I used to lead then. In fact, a brother told me that if he just had that I'm the one that is leading, he's not coming to the masjid. But that is very, very wrong. You don't actually, you consider people that are praying behind you. I was told about an imam who recited almost 10 pages in a rakah. On the last page, he was hooked. He tried to record the verse for where. So the Jama began to shout, Ruku! The Sheikh, perhaps it's Ruku that you forgot, it's not that verse. So be considerate. You now take any verse that is what? That is easy for you. But you make sure that you recite it what? With tajweed. Because Allah says, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. You must recite it with tajweed. رُبَّكَارِ إِنِ الْقُرْآنِ وَالْقُرْآنُ يَلْعَنِ. Most of the reciters of the Quran is cursing them. Why? Because they are not giving the Quran its right and its due. So you now pick any verse that is simple for you. Having done that, you now go to where? Ruku. In your ruku now, your back must be in the same shape. Do we understand? With your head. You see, some of us, when we observe ruku, some of us will do like this. Allahu Akbar. Some of us will do like this. Wallahi, I've met a scholar in Lokojaye. I will not call his name. His father was a great scholar. And he too is a great scholar now. In fact, he has a big masjid that is one of the best masjid in Lokojaye is the one that is leading, is the imam of that masjid. Wallahi tallahi. When I was praying behind him, this is how he goes, he does his ruku. Allahu Akbar. And he's a scholar. So, it's a young boy like me. I hope you understand. Jamal, please, are we following you? So, your back must be aligned with what? Your head. You see, Allahu Akbar. You are looking at the position of what? And use your hand. You catch your what do you call it? Your nails as if it's blow. You understand? You catch it like this. Subhana Rabbiya al-Azim wa bihamdi. Go if you like. Or if you like, you can stop at Subhana Rabbiya al-Azim. Then when you are rising, you say Sami Allahu liman hamidah. You must put that hand. Some of us used to say Sami Allahu liman hamidah. It's not correct. Sami Allahu liman hamidahu. So if you want to pause it to be Sami Allahu liman hamidah. I hope you are getting it. As you are rising from the ruku, you say Sami Allahu liman hamidah. When you don't stand straight, you say Rabbana wa lakal hamdu. Or you say Rabbana lakal hamdu. Or Allahumma Rabbana wa lakal hamdu. Whichever one you choose, the frog will jump. Meaning, whichever one you choose, you are correct. Then now, when you rise from the ruku as you are standing, where are you going to place your hand? Are you going to your hand back to your chest? Or you leave it? Which one do you do? Which one are you supposed to do? You leave it. So Albani, Sheikh Muhammad Nasiruddin Albani, is of the opinion that you should leave your hand like this. But Al-Allama Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen went with the view that you should take back your hand to your chest. Even Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz in Fatawa Tata'allaqu bis-Salah, he said you should bring back your hand to what? To your chest. Gesture is more better you bring back your hand to your chest. Is that okay? But whichever one you do does not actually affect what? Your salah. So you stand a little bit, then you go to where? Sujud. Now, as you are going to sujud, okay, they want me to come out. Yes. No, that even I thought after the story you come and. I think we can see me like this. So now, if you are going to sujud, are you going with your palms or you are going with your knees? Are we going with our palms or we are going with our what? Our knees? Your palm. Gaskiya, there is a kind of dispute among the scholars. Al-Uthaymeen went with the view that you should go with your what? Your knees. Even Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah in Zad al-Ma'ad, he went with the view that what? You should go with your knees. Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Abdullah ibn Baz went with the view that what? You should go with your what? Knees. But he said if you cannot go with your knees, then you go with your palm. Do we understand? Albani said go with your palm. So which one do we choose now? Go with your palm. Do we understand? Go with your what? Your palm. So as you are going with your palm, you are going to spread your palms like this. You say what? Allahu Akbar. You see, you spread your palm like this, and your forehead is going to be in between what? Your palm. You see, Allahu Akbar. Do we understand? Your forehead, your nose must be touching what? The surface of the head. And as you are there, you say what? Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdi. You say this how many times? So now, when you rise from the first sujood, the scholar said there are two ways through which you can sit. Do you understand? If you like, you can sit like this. Do we see it? You can sit like this. Sit on your left leg and slant toward the right one. Or you can do al-iqa'ah. The Prophet used to do this sometime. He used to sit on his heel when he rise from the word, the first sujood. So sometimes, don't make it perpetual because the Prophet used to do it sometimes. So you too, sometimes you sit like this. Do we understand? As sunnah. Sometimes you sit like this, then sometimes you sit one like this. Then there is this azkar the Prophet taught us. And your two hands must be on where? on your thigh. Your thigh and your knee. Your thigh and your knee. Your thigh and your knee. You say what? Rabbi Fili, Rabbi Fili, Rabbi Fili. Then you go back again to where? Is that taken? Now when you are rising from the second sujood, how do you rise? Do you rise with blow or you leave your hand like this? Anyone. Which one do you do? Me up to this point in time, I am with Sheikh Mukbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi'i al-Yamani. Sheikh Mukbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi'i al-Yamani is Sifatu Salat al-Nabi. He also has Sifatu Salat al-Nabi. He said the hadith that came that you should stand stand up, rest on your hand like in this manner. He said that hadith is not authentic. Do we understand? Even though Albani discussed extensively, he brought another riwayat in Tamamul Minna, which actually indicates that what? It is part of what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. Is that again? So if you like, you can go like this, or you can go what? Like this. Do we understand? Yeah. Because of the additional explanation of Albani concerning that particular hadith, which Sheikh Mukbil said is not authentic. So you can rise up like this, or you rise up on your what? Then in the second rakah, you do what? You do the same thing. Are we together? Yes. So now, after the second rakah, you are going to sit for what? For tashahhud. So now, how do you sit for tashahhud? In the first tashahhud, this is how you sit. This is how you sit, for the first word. Now, your palm will be on top of your knees in this manner. In this manner. Don't put it like this. It must be like this. This is what Uthaymin explained in Sifatu Salat al-Nabi. Uthaymin also has Sifatu Salat al-Nabi. The way Albani has Sifatu Salat al-Nabi. Then this, your what called index finger, you don't do it like this. You do it like this. Is that taken? Now, do you shake it or you don't shake it? You don't shake it. You don't shake it. The riwayah that came that you should shake it is not authentic. Because there is a man called Zaida ibn Qudama. All those who reported the hadith concerning the tashahhud of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like Sufyan al-Thawri, Sufyan ibn Uyayna, all of them, none of them came with the text that the Prophet, actually used to shake his index finger. It's only this Zaida ibn Qudama, and he is no more reliable than them. So the scholar said his riwayah became riwayah to Shadda. That hadith is right. Is that okay? So you don't shake your index finger. Is that okay? Yes. This particular view is the most authentic view. Because after I read Sifatu Salat al-Nabi of Sheikh Mukbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi'i, I called a brother whom I want to believe some of us will know him. He's an authority as far as the knowledge of hadith is concerned. They call him Al-Qasim Uturu. We discussed on this matter extensively. And he also went with the view that is correct, that hadith is not what? Is not authentic. So you just leave your what? Your hand in this manner. Is that okay? Then you recite what? Your tahiyyah. How do you recite tahiyyah? Asay batulillah. Let's hear No, all of us have been praying now. Atahiyatulillah. Is it atahiyatu or atahiyatu? Atahiyatulillah. Now I'm listening. Ustaz, please recite it for us.
السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
MashaAllah. So if this is one among them, if you recite this particular one, there is no problem. It is okay. Then in this first tashahhud again, the scholar said you can add Salatul Nabi. No. And when the Prophet ﷺ talked about Salatul Nabi, it was not specific. This is what Sheikh Muhammad Sadiq Nishawi actually mentioned in Akhtar al-Musalli. So in the first tashahhud, you would add Salatul Nabi. Which of the Salatul Nabi now?
Ibrahimiyya.
Is it Salatul Fatih or Salatul Ibrahimiyya? Salatul what? Ibrahimiyya. So which one is Salatul Ibrahim? How do we do Salatul Ibrahimiyya? So after this, you rise again from where? From the first tashahhud.
Yes.
Now, after the first rakah, if you want to rise to the second rakah, there's something called jilsatu istiraha. Is that okay? Jilsatu istiraha is among the sunnah of the Prophet. Some people said that it is when you are sick that you can do it. But after the demise of the Prophet, all the companions who taught prayer, they taught prayer with jilsatu istiraha. So if it was confined to sickness, they wouldn't have what? Included it. So jilsatu istiraha, when you rise from the second sujud, you sit on your left leg in this manner. A little bit before you now what? You now rise. Do we understand? So this is how you do in the remaining what? Rakah. Then on the last tashahhud, there are two ways you can sit. There are what? Two ways you can sit. It's either you sit like this, you sit like this, or you sit like this. Do we understand? Either you did like this, or what? Or like this. And your hand, it must be in that manner which we have explained. Now, after the Salatul Nabi, you are going to have what we call what? You are going to seek Allah's protection against four things. In fact, some of the Salaf they consider that particular refuge as wajib, like Taus. Taus, whenever his child prayed, his son prayed, he used to ask him that, do you remember to seek refuge against those four things? If he said no, he would say, well, repeat your prayer. I hope you are getting it down. So it means that what he is seeing it as what? As wajib. You must seek refuge against those things. What are those things? Allahumma inni as'aluka al-jannah. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabi al-qabr wa min adhabi jahannam. If you know the importance of this prayer, you will never want to miss it. Adhab al-qabr, you don't know how many years you are going to spend in the grave. Our forefathers, they are still there. And we don't know when Qiyamah will come. We too will soon join them. We don't know when Qiyamah will come. So if you are in serious punishment there, my brother, you are in trouble. I hope you are getting it. The fitnatul mahya wal mamat. Fitnatul mahya, as we are still alive, you see a lot of fitna. You relate to some people who will actually divert you from the correct akidah to wrong akidah. Fitnatul mamat is even worse. Wallahi, at the point of a person's death, Shaitan can just, actually take the structure of his father, who is no longer alive. And Shaitan will just tell you that, Wallahi, Islam is not the real religion. The most correct religion is Christianity. At that point, you are already in trouble. Because this man you are seeing is already dead. He has seen the reality. And you are about to join him. You don't want to make mistake. The relationship between father and Lord. You believe that my father will never mislead me. So at that point, some persons will accept Christianity and they will die. So that's why it's very, very dangerous. As long as you are still breathing, my brother, you are not saved. That's why you don't consider yourself better than anybody. Unless you die upon Islam. That's why Allah says, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. He did not say, do not live unless you are a Muslim. He said, do not die. Unless what? You are a Muslim. So that fitnatul mahya is very, very, mamat is very, very dangerous. The fitnatul masih dajjal, in fact, is one of the greatest fitna. Even the Sahabas were afraid of Dajjal. Abdullah ibn Sabah. Abdullah, when one of the companions of the Messenger of Allah, Abdullah ibn Mada, no, it's not Abdullah ibn Sabah. Do we understand? It's Abdullah ibn something. Inshallah, I hope before we finish the class, I will have remembered. When he came out, he almost had all the features of Dajjal. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said that, Wallah, it is not enough to me to swear 10 times now that Abdullah is the Dajjal, than for me to swear 1 time that is not Dajjal. the companions were afraid of him. To the extent that Abdullah ibn Umar used to go and threaten, disturb him. Hafsa called him one day and said, leave this man. Oh. Don't you hear that the Prophet ﷺ said, Dajjal, when he comes, is somebody that got him angry. He's somebody that is going to trigger him, and that is all. May Allah Ta'ala protect us. So the Sahabas themselves were afraid. But the man said, he was not Dajjal, but he had almost all the features of Dajjal. In fact, even the Prophet, his affair was not clear to the Prophet. Because the Prophet began to test him. The Prophet met him, he asked him that, who am I? No, the Prophet said, I am harboring something in my heart. What is that thing? The Prophet was harboring dhuk in his mind, in his heart. And he mentioned what? The dual of what the Prophet was harboring in his mind. The Prophet said, do you believe that I'm a prophet? He said, I believe that you are the messenger of the, unlearned people. He then asked the Prophet again, that, do you believe that I'm also a prophet? The Prophet said, you are not a prophet, because there is no prophet after me. Allah. When he even told the Prophet that, do you believe that he's a prophet? Umar quickly took permission. That Rasulullah gave me the permission. There is something we need to learn here. When it comes to taking life, you don't take life unless you take instruction from the leader. He has said something that his life is supposed to be taken immediately. But Umar had to take permission from the Prophet. And that was the reason why when Umar became Khalifa, he wrote letters to all the governors that they should not take anything that has to do with blood. They must take permission from him. Abdullah ibn Sayyad. Abdullah ibn Sayyad, in fact, the Prophet told Umar that if he is the real Dajjal, you will not be able to kill him. Yes. But if he is not the real Dajjal, then why will you kill him? Just leave him. He himself affirmed that he's not Dajjal. He said the Prophet said Dajjal will not come to Makkah. And he just left Makkah, they are going to Medina. The Prophet said Dajjal will not give birth. His son is there. In fact, his son was one of the teachers of Imam Malik. But some of the scholars say, yes, that time that he came is because he has not come as Dajjal. But when he will come as Dajjal, he will not be able to enter Makkah. Because Tamim Dari mentioned something. Dajjal, the real Dajjal told Tamim Dari something similar to what he said. The real Dajjal told Tamim Dari that, what about the Rasul of the Ummiyin? And don't forget that Abdullah ibn Sayyad also told the Prophet that you are the Rasul of what? But what is more authentic is that he was not one. He was not Dajjal. He was a Sahabi. I hope you understand. So with regard to Dajjal, nobody is safe from it. The only person that will be saved, or the only people that will be saved from fitna to Dajjal, are those who are in Ilori. If they are in Ilori, Dajjal will not come there. I'm only joking. If you are in Makkah, if you are in Makkah and Medina, you are safe. You understand? And you are upon good Akida. You are upon what? Good Akida. Inshallah, you are safe. Then after this question, after this dua, the Prophet said, you cannot make any dua, but it has to be what? In Arabic. If you are looking for a good wife, you are looking for a car, you are looking for a job, you cannot tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before you now say what? As-salam. In your taslim now, you say to the word, the right hand side, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Then you say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. If you like, you can say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Or if you like, you can even say it once. Assalamu alaikum. But it should not be perpetual. Is that taken? Some people are taking it perpetual. Who are those people? Is that a Jos? Okay, you have one. Is that a Jos? That is the sign through which we are divided. Assalamu alaikum. It's part of the sunnah of the Prophet, but it should not be what? It should not be perpetual. You know the way I understand this. For you, somebody that this is how you pray. May Allah forgive us. May Allah continue to forgive us.
Assalamu alaikum. They said, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
How? That one is wrong. All the riwayat that came, The Prophet did not say salam without what? Without
Allah.
You understand? You say assalamu alaikum, not what? Salamun alaikum. Wallahu ta'ala.
Let's control this.
Now, please remind me, when you are in the position of sujood, how is your leg supposed to be? Please remind me after this class, we'll take it in summary, inshallah. Yes. Are you also going, yani, merge your legs together, or you open them what? Inshallah, we're going to address that, inshallah, so that we'll be able to finish our class today, inshallah. Wa alaikum salam. Sitting between? No. That is Jilsatu al-Istira. That's what we call Jilsatu al-Istira. It's part of the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, it's perpetual. It's perpetual. The companions who taught prayer, that is how they taught the prayer. They taught it with what? This Jilsatu al-Istira. I hope we understand. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Wa alaikum salam. Yes. Amdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan. There are many du'as even. Yes. It's also part of the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Now, where did we stop? Okay, today we are going to start from Miqdaru Zamani al-Hayd. Miqdaru Zamani al-Hayd. The duration of the period of Hayd. The duration of the period of what? Of Hayd. Hayd, does it has maximum or minimum period? That's what we are going to learn here. Do we understand? Can a woman see blood in a day and becomes purified, in that particular day? You say no. We are going to know if it is no or yes. Is that taken? So can a woman see blood above or beyond 15 days? So this is what we want to learn here. Is that taken? The author says that هذه المسألة, this particular matter, اختلف العلماء فيها. The scholars actually differ concerning it. اختلف العلماء فيها, not فيه. Is a mistake. فمنهم من قال, among the scholars are those who said له مدة في أقله وأكثره. Hayd has a particular period in its minimum and what? And maximum. Do we understand? Minhum, among those scholars who said that what? It has maximum period and minimum period, we have Ash-Shafi'iyya wal-Anabila. The madhab of Imam Shafi'i and the madhab of what? Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. استدلوا بما روي عن علي رضي الله عنه. They cited evidence with what was actually reported from Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. من أنه قال, that Ali ibn Abi Talib said, ما زاد على 15 استحاضة. Any blood that exceed 15 days is considered to be what? Istihada. Meaning that what? The maximum period now is what? 15 days. But this hadith is what? Hadithun da'ifun. It's not an authentic hadith. Do we understand? Al-Malikiyah, the Malikiyah said, لا حد لأقل الحيض وأكثرها 15 يوما. They said there is no specific limit. Do we understand? For the minimum period of Hayd. Meaning a woman can just see a drop and she becomes pure. Do you understand? But the maximum period is what? 15 days. So anything above 15 days, according to the Malikiya now, it will not be considered as what? As Hayd. Do we understand? Al-Hanafiyya, the mother of Imam Ahmad, Imam Abu Hanifa Kena. They said, Inna aqalla muddat al-Hayd, the minimum period of Hayd, thalathatu ayyam wa thalathatu layal, is 3 days, 3 nights. Wa aktharuha, and the maximum period is what? 10 ayyam wa layaliya. 10 days and what? 10 nights. Is that taken? So which one is more closer to the truth? Wallahu alam is 15 days. The madhab of what? The Malikiya. Is that taken? أقل الطهر بين الحيضتين. The least period of purification between two what? Menstruation. Do we understand this concept? It's very, very important. The least period of purification between what? Two menstruation. That means, yani, what we want to learn here is that, is it possible for a woman to menstruate twice in a month? Or it's not possible? Is that taken? اختلف العلماء على أقل الطهر بين الحيضتين. The scholars actually differ concerning the minimum period between what? Two menstruation. Ala aqwal, on the following words. Al-Anabila, the school of thought of Imam Ahmad, they said, Inna aqalla muddati tuhur bain al-haydatayn 13 yawman. The least period of purification between two menstruation is what? 13 days. Is that taken? And this is what is closer to the truth. Do we understand? From one menstruation to another menstruation, the least period is what? Is 13 days. Yes, 13 days. My sister, do you agree? Good. Ash-Shafi'iyya. The mother of Imam Shafi'i, they said, Muddatu Tuhur, 15 yawman. Their own, they said, the minimum period of purification between a height to another one is 15 days. Because of the hadith, أقل ما بين الحيضتين 15. The least period of purification between two height is 15 days. But this hadith is hadithun da'ifun. Is that taken? Al-Malikiyya. The Malikiyya, اختلفوا فيما بينهم. They even differ among themselves. منهم من يقول 10 يوما. Among the Malikiyya, there are those who said that it is 10 days. ومنهم من يقول 8 يوما. Among them, there are those who said it's 8 days. وغير ذلك and others. ومنهم من يقول, among the Malikiyas again, there are those who said إذا رأت المرأة الدم ولو لحظة. If a woman sees blood, even if it's just for a minute or a second, ثم انقطع, and then that blood actually stops, فإنها تعتبر طاهرة. Such woman will be considered as a what? As a pure woman. إلى أن ترى دم الثانية. Till when she sees what? So that second blood is going to be considered as what? The second what? But is that how it is? It's not correct. Is that taken? Because there are some conditions that must be fulfilled before we can say this woman is done with her haid. Before we can say a woman is done with her haid, there are some conditions that must be what? Must be fulfilled. Is that taken? So these conditions, inshallah, we are going to hear them. May Allah continue to guide us. أقسام النساء بالنسبة للحيض. نعم الحنفية. نعم الحنفية, the Hanafiya madhab wafaqu al-Malikiyya. They conform with what? What they are pari passu with the Malikiyya. Are we together? أقسام النساء بالنسبة للحيض. The divisions, the categories of women, concerning what? Haid. Women are divided into 4. Is that taken? Just the way women, in terms of virginity, they are divided into 3. Is that taken? There are women, when you see them, you know that they are virgin. Because of what? Some futures. There are women, when you see them, you know that these ones, they are not virgin. Because of what? Some futures. But I will not tell us, brothers. So that the scholars actually divided. The scholars actually categorize the menstruating women ila arba'ati aqsam into what? 4 categories. Is that okay? Number 1, we have mubtada'a. meaning a woman that is just beginning her what? Her height. She has never menstruated before. This is her first time of what? Menstruating. That woman will call her mubtada'a. So this woman that this is her first time of menstruating, she's also divided into two. Do we understand? The first one is tumayyizu alwan ad-dam wa sifati. She can actually differentiate the color and the features of what? Of the blood. Do you understand? She can differentiate the color and the feature of what? Of the blood. You need to understand this. Because if she cannot differentiate the color and the future of the blood, her ruling is different from a woman that can differentiate the color and the future of the blood. If the blood now turns to what? Istihada. Do we understand? Now we also have mu'tadat. Mu'tada. What a woman who already has habitual. A woman who already has habitual is also divided into two. You know when we say habitual, you know the meaning of habitual? She has started menstruating. And she knows that, okay, my menstruation lasts for 5 days or 7 days. Is that taken? So such women, we call her mu'tada. Is that taken? So we have, please cancel that lam, alif, that la there in the first one. Is tumayyizu alwan ad-dam wa sifati. She can differentiate the color of the blood and the future of what? Of the blood. Do we understand? So this woman that can differentiate the color and the future of the blood, if she's caught up with hyperbleeding istihada, she's going to use what? The color and the future of the blood to stop her height. I hope you are getting it now. Then we have mubtada'a la tastati tamyizu alwan ad-dam. Alwan ad-dam yani wa sifati. Wato a beginner who cannot differentiate the color and the future of what? Of the blood. Wato the blood is the same. Do you understand? The blood has been the same throughout. This is her first time of beginning height. And the height continued with her for a complete month. With the same what? Blood. What is her own ruling? It's different from that first one. Do we understand? Then we have mu'tada. La tumayyiz alwan ad-dam wa sifat. We have somebody that is habitual. He already has habitual. She cannot differentiate the future and the color of what? Of the blood. This one will go back to our sisters. Is that taken? If the blood now result to what? Istihada. Jamal, do we understand? Please, do we get this particular portion at all? Yes. At-tawari'u al-hayy. Change in state. Change in what? In state of height. Change in state of what? Of height. There are various changes in state of what? Menstruation. At-tawari'u al-hayy anwa. Change in state of menstruation is of different types. النوع الأول, the first one is الزيادة على العادة المعهودة, an addition to the known custom. Do we understand? An addition to the known what? Custom. For instance, now a woman, her own habitual is 5 days. Do we understand? That is how she has been observing her height, 5 days. But all of a sudden, the height increased to what? To 7 days. Now that blood that comes out on the 6th and the 7th day, is she going to consider it as high or not? That is why the author said, Kullu ziyadatin fahuwa high. Every addition in the days of the habitual is considered to be what? High. Idha kana dammu ala sifati. If the blood is the same, no, is on the future, has the same future with the blood of what? Of height. You know, I've already mentioned the futures. Go. It is thick. Go. It has malodorous odor. Do we understand? It does not actually coagulate on time. And it could be black. Do we understand? So now if this blood has this future, on the 7th day is high though. On the 6th day is what? It's still high. And number 30, the second type is an-nuqsan an-al-adati al-ma'huda. What a reduction from the known, custom. Reduction from the known habitual penal. A high used to be 5 days. On the 4th day, it stopped. We should wait for the 5th day. We'll say no. Kullu naqsin tuhur. Every reduction is what? Purification. Every reduction is what? But with the condition that she has seen one of those things, one of those factors that actually, show that what a woman has stopped what? Menstruation. Do we understand? It's either she see white discharge, or she see yellowish discharge, or what she plays on her private part, she brings it out what? Dried. Is that okay? So these features, these three must be what? Must be considered. Do we understand? My sisters, are we getting the concept at all? And not to fail it. Okay, my brothers, you understand it? And not to fail it. The third, what called type. Is what? يعني تقدم الحيض على العادة المعهودة. It is for Eid to precede the non-habitual. To precede what? The non-habitual. It used to come, you used to observe your Eid at the end of the month. It now came at the what? Beginning of the month. Do we understand? Is it Eid or not? Who are Eid? It's Eid. It's still Eid. It's still menstruation. Tajlis salah was sown. She will sit for prayer, meaning not wala som. She will not pray, she will not what? Observe fasting. And no urabe. The fourth type is ta'khirul haid an al-'adat al-ma'huda. The delayment of haid from its normal what? Custom. It used to come at the beginning of the month. It's now coming at what? The end of the month. It is still what? Haid. Do you understand? Tajlis. She will what? She will sit down. Is that okay? If it delays and it did not come, that period that it has not come, don't say because it used to come every second of the month. Hence you did not see, you wait, you not pray. No. You pray, you fast. You understand? Until you now see what? That blood. النوع الخامس إعادة الدم في أيام الحيض بعد انقطاعه. This one is very delicate. What the coming back of Eid, the coming back of blood during the days of Eid, after it has stopped. The coming back of blood during the days of Eid, after it has what? It has stopped. So now in this case, you go back to where? You use differentiation method. Do you understand? Which one is differentiation method? Factorization cannot work. You use differentiation. You look at the blood. Does it have any of those features? If it does not, forget about it. Are we getting the concept? And not sadis. My sisters, please, are you getting it at all? And not sadis. What was the sixth type? Is manra at yawman daman wa yawman naqa. A woman that sees blood a day, then the next day she becomes pure. So this woman, what is she going to do? Today she sees blood, tomorrow she is pure. Next tomorrow she sees blood, a day after it again, she's pure. You know this woman will be confused. You are confused, man. اختلف العلماء في هذه المسألة. The scholars actually differ concerning this particular matter. إلى قولين. The scholars differ into two statements concerning this particular field, this particular matter. القول الأول. The first scholars called, they said for them haid. The blood that she saw is considered to be what? Haid. وَالنَّقَى tuhur. And anytime she did not see that blood, she's what? She's pure. They said because of the principle وَالْحُكْمُ يَدُورُ مَا عِلَّةِ وُجُودًا أَوْ عَدْمًا. the ruling revolves around its reason. When the reason is present and when the reason is what? Absent. So when the reason is present, the ruling will be what? Applied. When the ruling is absent, the ruling will be what? Is that taken? So for Yawmul Eid, Lahu Ahkamul Eid. As such, the days which she sees that blood, then the ruling of Eid will be applied on her. Wa Yawmul Naka, Lahu Ahkamul Tuhur. And the day that blood stops, the ruling of what? Purification will be applied on her. Do we understand this? Do you know why they said so? قالوا لأن هذا هو مقتضى قوله تعالى. They said because this is what the statement of Allah the Most High actually indicates. Allah says, قُلْ هُوَ أَذًا فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ. When they ask about a menstruating woman, Allah says, tell them that it's dirty. Stay away from women when they are what? Menstruating. Is that okay? So that means whenever that dirty is seen, what do? We stay away. Whenever the dirty is no longer there, what do? We come close. Do we understand? فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ. Jama'ah, do we understand this? Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Now, the author says, فَمَا دَامَ الْأَذَى مَوْجُودٌ فَهُوَ حَيْضٌ. As long as what? That dirty is present, then the woman is in the state of what? Haid. وَإِذَا حَصَلَ لَهَا النَّكَاءُ. And whenever she becomes pure, minhu, from that dirty, from what too? Then she's in the state of what? Purity. وَعَلَى هَذَا يَلْزَمُ الْمَرْأَةِ. Based on this now, it will now be obligatory upon the woman أن تغتسل عدة مرات في أيام حيضها, to bath many times during the days of what? Her height. Do you understand? It means that anytime she sees blood, she will bath. Anytime she sees blood, she will bath. This will become what? Difficult upon her. And the scholar said, Al-mushaqqatu tajribu taysir. Whenever there is difficulty, it leads to what? Ease. The religion came to remove what? وَمَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. The religion came to remove that difficulty. That's why this view is not the most correct view. Is that okay? وَهَذَا فِي مَشَقَّةُ شَدِيدًا. In this particular concept, there is a lot of what? Burden and difficulties. So this is not the correct view, my sisters. Al-Qawl al-Thani, the second statement, the second view, لا يعد النقاء طهورا. Do we understand? لا يعد النقاء طهور. The purification is not considered as what? Purification. So anytime she did not see blood, we will not say that she is pure. Is that taken? لأنه في أيام الحيض, because it is still within the days of, she's still within the days of what? This is happening within the days of what? Of Haid. لم تطهر يعني طهورا كاملا. She is not actually completely pure. بالجفوف التام, by complete dryness. She can be pure when she placed something in a private part and there is no what? She brought it out what? Dried. Or والكسة البيضاء, or she sees what? White discharge. She has not seen any of this. Or yellowish discharge. She has not seen any of this. So we will not say that what? She is pure. بدليل قول عائشة رضي الله عنها. Because of the statement of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, where she said, لا تعجلن حتى ترين القصة البيضاء. Oh, you women, don't hasten not to purify yourself until you see what? White discharge. Is that taken? Please, do we get to this particular concept?
Yes.
Thank you. And now the seventh type is تغيير لون الدم من الأسود إلى الأصفر. What the change of the color of blood from black to yellow, or kudra, or dinginess. You know dinginess, a color that is between black and yellow. Out to rabi, or gray color, from black to where? To gray color. Out bunni, or from black to where? Brown color. So when the blood changed to any of these colors, do we consider those colors as high? Okay, تغيير لون الدم, the change of the color of the blood, من الأسود, from black إلى الأصفر, to yellow, أو كدرة, or dinginess, أو ترابي, gray, أو بني, or what? brown color. The author says, فَهَذَا إِنْ كَانَ فِي أَثْنَاءِ الْحَيْضِ. If this change actually occurs during our days of high, أَوْ مُتَّصِلًا بِهِ, or this change actually is connected to high, قَبْلَ الطُّهُرِ, before she becomes pure, for over high, is considered to be what? Do we understand? For example, a habitual is 5 days. On the 3rd day, the blood changed from black to yellow. That yellow blood is what? High. On the 3rd day, the blood changed from black to dinginess. That blood is what? High. On the 3rd day, the blood changed from black to brown. That brown is what? That's what he's saying. I hope you are getting it. Because it's still within the days of what? Of high. So, ثَبَتَ لَهُ أَحْكَامُ الْحَيْضِ. The ruling of Hayd will be what? Affirmed for it. وَإِنْ كَانَ بَعْدَ الطُّهُرِ. But if this change occur after she has seen that white discharge, that is, she's pure. After she's pure, she now saw, this black, this what called yellow or brown or gray color. فَلَيْسَ بِحَيْضٍ. It is not considered as what? High. What is our evidence? لحديث عطية. Because of the hadith of عطية. She said, كنا لا نعد القدرة والصفرة شيئا. We don't consider dinginess and yellow as anything. After what? We have purified ourselves. Do we understand this at all? Allah Ta'ala a'la wa a'la. I just hope that we are getting the message. May Allah continue to guide us. Please bear with me, because I've been talking, in fact, since morning. So my voice is almost going. May Allah continue to guide us. Yani, متى تطهر الحيض? When is a woman that is observing Eid becomes what? Can be considered to become what? Pure. Where can we say that this woman that is observing Eid, she's what? She's pure. Please, do we get it? Yani tatuhuru bi amrain. A woman that is observing Eid can become pure by 2 ways. Number 1 is al-jufuf, that is dryness. Al-jufuf means what? Dryness. وهو أن يخرج ما يحتشي به الرحم جافا. أن يخرج is for her to bring out, what she placed on our private part. Is for her to bring it out dried. بمعنى أن المرأة تضع في فرجها شيئا. Meaning a woman will place something like a cloth. من خرقة, a cloth in a private part. فيخرج جافا أو فيخرج جافا, and that cloth will come out what? Dried. So that shows that woman is what? Is pure. Do we understand? Sorry, it's not وهو أن يخرج, it's وهو أن يخرج. وهو أن يخرج. Then the second way through which she can purify herself is al-qisatu al-bayda. What that white what? Discharge. وهي شيء أبيض is something white. يخرج من الرحم, that comes out from the womb بعد انقطاع الدم, after the blood has actually what? Stopped. لحديث عائشة رضي الله عنها, because of the hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, when she said, the Prophet said, لا تعجلن حتى ترين القصة البيضاء. And all you women, don't hasten up to purify yourself until you see what? White discharge. Do we understand this? Right. Now, ahkamul hayd, the rulings of hayd. A woman that is observing hayd, what does the Sharia actually place upon her? Number 1, lil hayd ahkamu kathira. Hayd, what is supposed to be lil hayd. And for a woman that is observing hayd, there are a lot of what? Rulings upon her. Minha, among those rulings, al-awwal is as-salah. Is what? As-salah. فَيَحْرِمُ عَلَى الْحَيْضِ الصَّلَاةِ فَرْضُهَا وَنَفْلُهَا. It is forbidden for a woman that is observing Eid to observe obligatory or supererogatory prayer. Whichever one she observe among them, لَا تَصِحُّ مِنْهَا. It's not what? It will not be accepted from her. So if you are observing Eid, that's where That's why the Prophet said, women, they are reduced. Do we understand? They are what? They are reduced. You can't compare yourself to the men. I hope you are getting it. Just as the men too cannot compare themselves to you because you carry your children for how many months? Is it easy? Is it easy?
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's your children. They are your children. But who took those children? You carried it together. But by the time they are not sleeping at night, are you not sleeping? Have you ever seen where a woman delivered? Have you ever seen where a woman? Were you there when a woman is delivering? My brother, me, I was there, so I know what I'm saying. My sisters, may Allah reward you all about it. They will not understand. Asiyam. Then another ruling again is what? Fasting. فَيَحْرُمُ عَلَى الْعَائِدَ الصِّيَامُ فَرْضُهُ وَنَفْلُهُ. It is forbidden for a woman that is observing menstruation to fast. Obligatory fasting or what? Supererogatory fasting. وَلَا يَصِحُ مِنْهَا. None of them will be accepted from what? From her. Do we understand? الثالثة, then the third ruling is الطواف بالبيت. Circumambulating around what? The Kaaba. فَيَحْرِمُ عَلَيْهَا الطَّوَافُ بِالْبَيْتِ فَرْضُهَا وَنَفْلُهُ وَلَا يَصِحُ مِنْهَا. It is forbidden upon her to observe obligatory circumambulation or supererogatory what? Circumambulation. None of them will be accepted from her. Do we understand? الرابع, the fourth one is al-jima'. That is sexual affair. It is فَيَحْرِمُ عَلَى زَوْجِهَا أَنْ يُجَامِعَهَا. It is forbidden upon her husband to copulate with her. وَيَحْرِمُ عَلَيْهَا تَمْكِينُهُ. And it is also forbidden upon her to make it possible for the husband. Do we understand? You don't understand? Don't go and wear bomb shorts when you are menstruating. Is that taken? Don't go and be wearing show me your back or show me your this thing when you are what? Menstruating. You are trying to actually trigger your husband. I hope you are getting it. May Allah protect us. So don't make it possible for him. Is that taken? Now, then, because the Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked that, what can a married man do with his menstruating wife? The Prophet said, "Isna'u kulla shay'in illa an-nikah." Do everything with her except with what? Al-khamis at-talaq. It is haram. You don't divorce a woman that is menstruating. Do you understand? فَيَحْرُمُ عَلَى الزَّوْجِ يعني طلاق الحائض على حيضها. It is forbidden upon the husband to divorce, his wife while she is observing what? Menstruation. Do we understand? Ibn Umar divorced his wife while she was what? Menstruating. Umar told the Prophet was angry. Seriously angry. He said, command him to take her back. Do we understand? So you don't divorce a woman while she's. Allah said, فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ. Divorce them when they are facing their what? Their period. So, and they are not facing their period when they are already in their period. I hope you are getting it. So divorce them before they observe their menstruation. Do we understand? Now, asadis, i'tibaru iddat al-talaq. So the period of talaq is considered, the period of the elapsement of divorce, the waiting period of a divorced woman is considered to elapse through what? Menstruation. Do we understand? How many menstrual cycles? 3. Do we understand? She must observe 3 menstrual cycles. And also istibra too. Istibra. You know the period of istibra? The scholars, like the Malikiya, they said if you want to marry a lady and you copulate with that lady, you must wait for her to observe menstruation for good 3 months before you can conduct the nikah. If you conduct the nikah, you don't have marriage. I hope you are getting it. But some people immediately they sleep with their girlfriend. Maybe some days to their nikah, they will sleep with them. They don't have marriage. May Allah forgive us. Now, for both of them, the wife will wait for 3 menstrual cycles. I mean, the woman she's not the wife yet. She must wait. It is after that 3 menstrual cycle that they will now conduct what? Yeah. Barakallahu fikum akhi. Now, before the marriage is when she will wait, so that they will affirm that she's not pregnant. I hope you are getting the concept. That's if they meet now, because by default they are not supposed to work. But you call it accidental meet? Is it mistakenly? Some of them do it intentionally. May Allah have mercy upon us. Do we understand? But when are we going to consider hide as a waiting period for a woman? Is when the husband has actually touched that woman, or he has already secluded himself with that woman. So if he divorces her, she must wait 3 consecutive months. Hide. Is that taken? If he has not touched her, or he has not secluded himself with her, if he divorces her, there's no need for her to wait. She can go. Now,
what if something happens? She still waits?
Yes, introduction is it wedding? You know, even if they fake Sadaki, introduction is not wedding. You know, there is this shubha some Sunnah brothers brought one time. If they want to if they want to copulate with sisters, especially our brothers from the Yoruba side, you understand? Our brothers from the Yoruba side, when they go to meet a sister, when they see a sister that they want to marry, they'll go and meet the parents. If the parents say, we have accepted you, they'll say, they'll start touching the sister, sleeping with her. That is zina. Ustaz, I'm more closer to Yoruba than even you that are Yoruba. Me, I am from Ilorin by default. Is that okay? My father is from Ilorin. My father's father and his mother, both of them are Yoruba from Ilorin. You understand? So, me talking about Yoruba, I know what I am also Yoruba. So that is our character afar. Especially Ilorin people. About should I divorce Ilori's character? Should I divorce their secret? Write it. Just write it so that we just finish the book. Now, at least you have done introduction. So introduction, do they call it nikah? Is introduction nikah? Anything after introduction is proportional to zina. Is that the thing? And you know, zina is proportional to what? Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَدْعُونَ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا آخَرَ وَلَا يَقْتُلُونَ النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ وَلَا يَزْنُونَ وَمَن يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ يَلْقَ أَثَامًا يُضَاعَفُ لَهُ الْعَذَابُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَيَخْلُدُ فِيهِ مُهَانًا إِلَّا مَا تَابَ وَمَن تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. May Allah continue to guide us. May Allah continue to guide us. And also part of those women that will not wait for waiting period, they will not wait for 3 menstrual cycles, is a woman who divorced her husband through what? Through khul. A woman that is divorced, even if she's menstruating, if she do khul, she will not wait. Is that again? What is khul'u? When she decide to return back what the husband gave to her in order to what? To free her. Do we understand? Asabe wujubu al-ghusl. The seventh one is the obligation of what? Taking bath. We have already mentioned the water. So now how do you take, bath, menstrual bath? You get what we call seeding. You know seeding called lot leaf tree. Lot tree leaf. When you get seeding, that means you are going to get like 2 water. 1 water without seeding. Then the other one with what? Seeding. Then you get what we call handkerchief. That is perfumed with either mist or something else. Or any other perfume. But preferably use what? Mist. Now this seeding is going to serve as what? As soap, detergent for you. Is that okay? When you wash your private part, you wash your hand 3 times. You wash what? Your hand 3 times. Then you cannot dip your hand into the vessel. You fetch water and wash your private part thoroughly. Use that seeding water to wash your private part and your head. Is that okay? Then having done that again, you now perform what? Ablution. If you like, divide your body into 2. If you like what? After finishing the ablution, you wash your head thoroughly with what? That seeding again. Then you cannot pour the remaining water on your body. After you have done that handkerchief with mist, you now use it again to follow what? Your private part. This is how you take your what? Your menstrual bath. It's different from other baths. Do we understand? In order to kill away that malodorous odor. Yes, that is the way the Prophet Islam instructs. That is the advice the Prophet gave to his wives. That is the way they do it. So you get handkerchief that is mixed with what? With perfume. Is that taken? So it is that perfume now you use to trace that place that blood is coming from. Is that taken? May Allah continue to guide us. فَيَجِبُ عَلَى الْحَيْضِ إِذَا طَهِرَتْ. It is obligatory upon a woman observing haid if she becomes pure and تَغْتَسِلْ بِتَطْهِيرِ جَمِيعِ الْبَدَنِ, to bath by purifying the entire body in the manner which what we have explained, because of the hadith of Fatima bint Jahsh. And the Prophet ﷺ told her that whenever the haid comes, then leave prayer. But when the haid goes, فَغْتَسِلِي وَصَلِّي. Take bath and do what? Is that understood? Al-istihada. Write it down, please. Al-istihada, hyperbleeding. Al-istihada, what's the meaning of hyperbleeding? Istimraru dam ala al-mar'a is the continual flow of blood. You understand? In a woman, bihaythu la yanqati anha abada, so that blood does not cut. It does not stop at all. Or how yanqati, or the blood stops anha. The blood stops muddatan yasira, for a very little period. Kal-yawm wal-yawmain fi ashhur. It just like a day or 2 days in months. The blood does not stop at all, or it stops for just a day or what? 2 days. Of such kind of flow is called what? Istihada. Now, how is she going to do? Will she draw prayer? We are going to learn that here. Is that taken? I just hope that we are getting the message. Sorry, this particular book we are treating is already written in English language. Is that taken? The Guide to Know Menstruation. When I was in Zaria, in Faculty of Science, we did something like this, but in English language. The Guide to Know Menstruation. So inshallah, maybe I'll discuss with Hamid to see how we can get the copies for us. Do you need it? You want to metamorphose to a lady? May Allah continue to guide us. A woman observing istihada has 3 conditions. The first condition is أن يكون لها حيض معلوم. It's for her to have a known height قبل الاستحاضة, before what? She has what? A known height, meaning her height, her habitual used to be 5 days. Do we understand? Then after some time, the thing now changed so that the blood kept on what? flowing without stopping, or it stopped for like 2 days or a day. فهذه ترجع إلى مدة عيدها. This woman, she will go back to إلى مدة عيدها المعلوم السابق. She will go back to a previous known haid period. Do you understand? So if a haid is 5 days, and she knows when she used to start a haid, so now she'll be considering that 5 days every month. Do we understand? If a haid used to start maybe on 2nd of every month, then she will wait for what? 5 days. After 5 days, it will stop. When she now starts observing hyperbleeding, on the 2nd of every month, she will consider it to be what? To be haid. Is that the case? Then after 5 days, she will consider herself to be what? Is that the case? So وَثَبَتَ لَهَا أَحْكَامُ الْحَيْض. On those particular days that she used to observe a haid, the ruling of haid will be applied upon her. وَمَا عَادَهَا, yes, no salat, no fasting. وَمَا عَادَهَا, anything beyond those days is istihada. It will be considered as what? Pure. So يَثْبُتُ لَهَا أَحْكَامُ الْمُسْتَحَادَةِ. The ruling of the woman that is observing hyperbleeding will be what? Will be applied on her. Do we understand this? Al-halu thaniya, the second condition. Sorry, it's supposed to be al-halu al-ula, because al-hal in Arabic is mu'annath. Is that taken? It's not al-halu al-awwal, it's al-halu al-ula. Do we understand? Although what is considered is not the Arabic, is the message. Do we understand? Al-halu thaniya, the second condition, Allah yakuna laha aydun ma'lum, is for her not to have a known height before, this istihada. قبل الاستحادة, before what the istihada. بأن تكون الاستحادة مستمرة بها من أول بأن تكون الاستحادة مستمرة بها is for istihada to continue with her من أول ما رأت الدم, from the beginning, from the first time she saw what? Blood. من أول أمرها, from the first time she started menstruating. فهذه تعمل بتمييز. For this woman now, and she does not have what? Habitual. She's going to use differentiation method. She'll be looking at the blood. Is that taken? No. By the time it changed from those 4 features that we mentioned, she'll consider herself to be pure. I hope you are getting the concept now. So by the time the blood again now comes back again, those features that were mentioned comes back, she'll consider herself to be what? Please, do we understand? Right. Because of the hadith of what? The hadith of, Fatima. And the first one we quoted, the first, what's called condition, we use the hadith of Fatima being to Josh as an evidence. Do we understand? The Prophet told her that wait for the days that you to observe your height. After those days, then consider any blood that comes as what? Is that taken? Is that taken? And also here again, we'll still use the hadith of Fatima being to Josh, because the Prophet told her that height is damun aswad yu'raf. Is a black blood that is what? That is known. So you look at what? The known features of height. Then by the time those known features actually disappear, you consider it to be what? Istihada. Is that taken? Al-halu thalisa, the third condition. Allah yakuna laha haidun ma'lum. This one is difficult. It's for her not to have a known height. She does not have habitual wala tamyizu salih, and she cannot differentiate. The blood is the same, all true. So in this case, now what is she going to do? We cannot apply what? We cannot apply differentiation method here. I hope you are getting it now. And we cannot actually go back. We cannot apply what? Our habitual method here. So what do we do? The antakuna istiada mustamirra is for the blood istiada to continue with her min awwal ma ra'at ad-dam, from the beginning of when she sees blood. Wa damu ala sifatin wahida, and the blood is in what? One future. The same future, no difference. Do we understand? Aw ala sifatin muttariba, or the blood is in a kind of, it has futures that it is difficult for you to differentiate. La yumkin an takuna haidan. You cannot say that this one is high or it's not what? It's not high. So in this case, فَهَذِهِ تَعْمَلُ بِعَادَةِ غَالِبِ النِّسَاءِ. This woman, she is going to work with the habitual of majority of the women. Do we understand? فَيَكُونُ حَيْدُهَا سِتَّةَ أَيَّامٍ أَوْ سَبْعَةٍ. So she's going to wait for either 6 days or 7 days. Some of the scholars say she will now look at her own family now. How many days do they wait among these two? Is that taking the mother or the sister? Among these 2 days, now is it 7 days or 6 days? If their own is 6 days, she will take it to be 6 days. If their own is 7 days, she will take it to be what? So after that 7 days, whatever that she see of blood, she will just be washing herself. So she'll be waiting. Min kulli sharin. She'll be waiting, for 7 days in every month. يبتدئ من أول المدة التي رأت فيها الدم. Starting from the first period when she sees what? That blood. If it is on the first of this month, to every first of the month, she will wait for what? 6 or 7 days. Is that taken? Wama adahu istihada. Then anything after that 6 or 7 days is considered to be what? Istihada. Please, do we understand this at all? No. My sisters, are you getting it at all? Ahkamul istihada. But which one is the ruling of istihada? Wa amma ahkamul istihada, as for the ruling of istihada, for ahkam al-tuhur, it's just like the ruling of a woman that is pure. A woman that is observing istihada, she can do everything. Even her husband can copulate with her. Is that taken? Everything, there's nothing that she cannot do. Anything that a pure woman will do, she will what? She will do it. فَلَا فَرْقْ بَيْنَ الْمُسْتَحَادَةِ وَبَيْنَ الطَّاهِرَاتِ. There is no difference between a woman observing istihada and a woman that is what? Woman that is pure. إِلَّا فِي مَا يَلِي, except in the following. The first one is وُجُوبُ الْوُضُوءِ عَلَيْهَا لِكُلِّ صَلَاةٍ. Every prayer should be performed ablution. That's what the Prophet told Fatima to bring to Josh. Every prayer she must what? Perform ablution. But a woman that is pure now, if her ablution is intact, there's no need for her to what? Perform ablution. Then Athani, number 2 is Anna Ida Aradat al-Wudu. Anytime she wants to perform ablution, for inna taksilu athar of them, she is going to wash the traces of blood. So that means before she performs ablution, she must wash what? A private part. That is number 1. وَتُعَصِّبُ عَلَى الْفَرْجِ خِرْكَةً عَلَى قُتْلٍ. Then she is going to place a cloth with cotton on what? She will place a cotton, then a cloth on the what? On the private part. لِيَسْتَمْسِكْ الدَّمْ. In order for it to hold what? The blood. So that the blood will not what? Stain. Is that taken? Then Thalitha al-Jima. The third ruling is al-Jima. Her husband can cooperate with her. But what she should just do is just to wash that word, that blood. Is that taken? فَيَجُوزُ لِزَوْجِهَا أَنْ يُجَامِعَهَا. It is permissible for her husband to do what? To touch, to copulate with her. If you say to touch her, even a menstruating woman, her husband can touch her. Is that taken? Because we are not Yahud who used to run out of the house, for their wives if they are menstruating. Is that taken? And there are some men like that. If their wife is menstruating, they don't eat her food. This is actually wrong. But nobody asked me that, Malam, when you discuss about the ruling of menstruation, you did not talk about can a menstruating woman enter the masjid? Can she hold the Muslim? I know the reason why I didn't talk about it. Is that taken? And nifas, postpartum bleeding. Post what? Partum bleeding. So what is an nifas? An nifas what? Damun yurtihi ar-rahim. It's a blood that the womb actually discharged bisababil wilad as a result of what? Child delivery. Imma ma'aha, either it comes with the what? The baby, aw ba'daha, or after what? The baby has been delivered. Aw qablaha, or before the delivery of the baby, be yawmin, 2 days. Aw thalatha, or what? 3 days. With the condition that it comes with ma'at talq. You know the meaning of talq? And they call it childbirth pain. You know childbirth what pain? Subhanallah. That pain. It's not explainable. But you know one surprising thing? Even if they give birth, Allah will make them to forget it. Me, I've ever seen a woman who said that after this child, I will relax for 3 years. She said, Wallah, after this, my child, I will relax for 3 years. But within 2 years again, she's pregnant. Hey, Wallah, they don't forget that pain. No woman will want to actually, my sister, don't be afraid though. It's not painful. Don't mind. Muddatun nifas. The period of what? Nifas. Postpartum bleeding. اختلف العلماء في هذه المسألة إلى مذهبين. The scholars differ concerning this particular matter into what? Two schools of thought. Al-madhhabu al-awwal is not al-mawaibu, it's a mistake. Al-madhhabu al-awwal. The first school of thought. What do they say? They said أكثر أهل العلم, what the majority of the scholars قيدوه ب40 يوما. They said the waiting period of a woman observing postpartum bleeding is what? 40 days. Do we understand? لحديث Salama. Do we understand it? Because of the hadith of Salama, one of the wives of the Prophet, may Allah be pleased with her, she said, يعني كان النفساء, the postpartum bleeding women, تجلس على عهد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مدة 40 يوما, used to sit during the lifetime of the Prophet for how many days? 40 days. Do you understand? But if she is pure before that 40 days, there is no qualms. She can be pure before what? But the maximum period now is what? After 40 days, you will not consider anything. This is the view of this particular school of thought. They cited also evidence ibn Abbas with the the narration of Ibn Abbas. Mawqufan. When they say hadith is mawquf, that means it stopped at who? The companion. Hadith mawquf is a hadith that stopped at the companion, meaning the statement of the companion. So this means that this statement is a statement of who? Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas said that تنتظر النفساء 40 يوما أو نحوها. The woman of having postpartum bleeding will actually wait for 40 days or so also. Is that okay? So their waiting period is what? 40 days. Al-Madhhab al-Thani, the second school of thought said, وَقَالَ بَعْضُ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ. Some of the scholars said, هُوَ 60 يَوْمًا. It is what? 60 days. Minhum Ata. Among them we have Ata. Who are Madhhab Malik, and this is the view of the school of thought of Imam Malik was Shafi'i, and also Imam Shafi'i wa Abi Hanifa and Abi Hanifa. قالوا, they said, إن 60 يوما كثير يعني وجوده في النساء. They say 60 days is the dominant days that are actually found in women that are observing what? Postpartum bleeding. That postpartum bleeding actually stops at what? 60 days. وَحَمَلُوا حَدِيثَ أُمِّ السَّلَمَةِ. They consider the hadith of Salama al-Ghalib as what? The majority. Do we understand? Majority of women is 40 days. But most time again, sometimes it could be what? وَيَدُلُّ عَلَى هَذَا أَنَّهُ يُوجَدْ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. So this actually indicates that it can be found among the women. مَنْ يَسْتَمِرُّ مَعَ الدَّمْ, whom the blood actually will continue with her بعد الأربعين, after 40 days. عَلَى طَبِيعَتِهِ وَرَائِحَتِهِ, in its nature and what? And odor. So which one is the strongest? My teacher went with 60 days. But in this case, me, I'm more convinced with what the Prophet said. Is what is 40 days. Wallahu ta'ala. Is that again? Ahkamun nifas. The ruling of a woman observing postpartum bleeding. Ahkamun nifas ka ahkamil hayd. The ruling of a woman observing postpartum bleeding is just like the ruling of a woman observing what? Hayd. Sawa and the sawa. They are the same, no difference. Illa fi ma yali, except in the one. In the following. Al-awwal is al-idda, waiting period. فَتُعْتَبَرُ بِالطَّلَاقِ دُونَ النِّفَاسِ. 15 minutes. فَتُعْتَبَرُ بِالطَّلَاقِ دُونَ النِّفَاسِ. The waiting period, do you understand? The waiting period, what is considered with haid, not nifas. لأنه إن كان الطلاق, يعني the waiting period is considered, by when the divorce actually takes place, not what the postpartum, the period of the postpartum bleeding. لأنه إن كان الطلاق قبل وضع الحمل, because if the divorce takes place before the child delivery, then انقضت العدة بوضعه. The waiting period ends at the child what? Immediately the woman delivers, then she has finished her work. Idda. La bin nifas, not by what? The nifas. وإن كان الطلاق بعد الوضع. But if the divorce takes place after she has delivered, then intadarat ruju al-haid. She will wait till Eid comes. So that means that 40 days will not be considered as part of her waiting what? Period. Until she now start observing what? Haid. That Haid will not be counted as one, the second one, and also what? She get this to go. Do we understand? Muddatul ila, the period of what? Ila. You know the meaning of ila? And ila is when a man swear that he will never sleep with his wife again. If a man swears that he will never copulate with his wife again, and the wife now requested him to copulate with her, so the man will be given 4 months. The man will be given what? 4 months as a waiting period. Yes. So that 4 months now is considered by Haid, not by what? Nifas. So if she's menstruating within that period of, if she's observing postpartum bleeding within that period, it will not be what? Counted. So after the 4 months now, the man will now be forced to copulate with her. If he refuses, then she can seek for divorce. Yuhsabu min hamudatul haid. The waiting period, the period is counted, through Haid. The period is counted during the period of Haid. Wala yuhsabu min hamudatul yani an-nifas. The period of what? Nifas is not counted as part of what? As part of the period. Jamal, do we understand? Eh? Who said no? Okay. We said now, that period, that 4-month period now, is counted with what Haid is considered, not what? Not nifas. So that means if she's observing postpartum bleeding, that period of postpartum bleeding is not what? Counted. Do we understand it now? It is when she's observing Haid, it is the period of her Haid that will be what? Counted. Please, do we understand? So this is the summary. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika. This is the summary of these rulings. Whatever I've said that is wrong, Allah forgive me. Whatever I've said that is right, may Allah reward all of us.
Madam, you said period of waiting for women.
No.
It's 40 days. Does this apply to women that went for abortion? Definitely there's blood. So does this 40 days apply to them?
Yes. Abortion now. That blood that comes, does it come with childbirth pain? But not childbirth pain. There is difference between pain and childbirth pain. That's why they said nifas, postpartum bleeding. Is that bleeding that comes with what? Who has given birth here? Okay, you will not understand. You have given birth. Okay, you know the difference.
Yes.
Good.
But I guess instead of using abortion, one of those that has miscarriage.
Yes, miscarriage is not childbirth pain. Except although the scholar said that if the child has taken the structure of human, if it has taken the structure of human, some scholars say she will wait. Which ruling? Open the fast is applied according to those scholars. Allah Ta'ala. Now,
The question I wanted to ask is, like, how many times will it take a man to tell for a woman to accept the divorce? How many times will a man say, I divorce you, before a woman will accept the divorce?
a woman will accept all the divorce will stand.
Before you understand.
Yeah, 3 different times. 3 different period. If a man comes and say that he has divorced you, 3 divorce now, it will be considered as what? As one. This is the fatwa of the prophet. Do you understand? Huh? Madam, have you been divorced? Now, So, my sister, are you getting the concept?
Yeah.
But Umar ibn Khattab, when he discovered that people were playing with it, he then said, if you divorce your wife 3 times at once, that divorce won't stand. But which statement are we going to follow between Umar and the Prophet? So it's the Prophet. He's considered as one. Yes, he's considered as one. Wa alaikum salam.
In the first place, in the ablution site,
Now,
rubbing with the socks instead of removing it. How can someone rub the socks to perform ablution? Is it permissible?
yes, you are correct. You see, you can wipe on your socks if you perform ablution before wearing what?
So,
So if you perform ablution before wearing the socks, you can just wipe on. You just fetch water on your hand. You understand? You make sure that that hand is a little bit free from the water. Then you rub. You see my hands like this. You rub it what? Simultaneously like this. You see, simultaneously like this, left and right simultaneously. Not that I saw a sister doing like this. No, you just on the edge. Is that taking like this? My sister, you can see it, but you do it simultaneously now. And that is what.
the second question, on height, ruling between height and ablution. Because some people, you will see, when they are on their height period, they are going to perform ablution. Is it permissible?
No, it's not. What do you perform ablution for?
You know, some people, after that, they will not perform ablution. Why sometimes they mistake? Why sometimes they just do it?
It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to be done. I'm going to give us a question, inshallah. But they are not supposed to do that. It's a mistake. Wa alaikum salam. Now,
When they were talking about introduction, in cases whereby somebody came for introduction and the father of the lady told them that they should pay a sadaq in that process, even if they have not done walima, it is permissible for the man to have something with her.
you see, when the father, of a lady said to you, I've given you my daughter, you will ask, you say, Daddy, can I go home with her? You have to ask this question. Because what they mean by I've given you my daughter is that go and bring your parents. You will not come and discuss. But if the father said, I've given you my daughter, I say, Daddy, can I go home with her as husband and wife? And he say, yes. She has become your wife. Is that taken? Nothing, even if you have not paid Sadaki. You can just agree on the Sadaki. If you like, if you have it there, you pay. If you don't have it there, then you pay her later. There is no problem. Do we understand? Allah Ta'ala.
Similar question. Like when we're talking about introduction and also like the kind, like for instance, some people come for the introduction, although maybe the parents have told themselves one on one before, but they will still come in Yoruba and they will ask them to come with other family members so that they will do the handling and everything. Immediately they finish this one and they did it with the next together. Can they start?
Yes.
Like, can they take the wife home?
Yes. They have become husband and wife. Yes. They have become husband and wife. You understand? It's the same thing. They have become what? Husband and wife. Is that taking? But when you go there, that, sir, I saw your daughter and I want to marry her. And he said, oh, no problem, I've given her to you. You have to ask question. Because what the people have given her to you is go and bring your word. This thing I'm telling you, it happened to us here. Do you understand? A brother came from Osun State. So he knows one of my friends. So, no, I'm not trying to attack Yoruba this time. So when my friend now called me that please I should accompany him to that sister's place. When we got there, we discussed with the father. He said he has given us the daughter. I said, Agamala, ask him, can you take her home as your wife? Because he's already thinking that as he said he has given her, she has become. When we asked the father, he said, no, go and bring what? Go and bring your people. Let's come and discuss when we are going to actually do the nikah. So if not that, and this thing cause problem. Many Sunnah brothers impregnated women, sisters. He impregnated sisters in this particular with the name of Ahmed the parent. That Maba Ankurigo, Lekaraman Ankuri. May Allah continue to guide us. My brother is asking a question here. He said, may Allah reward you abundantly, sir. My question is that how can someone, I don't know why my brother is so bothered about this, what do you call it? May Allah grant good wives. That should be our prayer. Do you understand? That should be our word. Let me give you a story. A very close friend of mine, very, very close friend of mine, Allah bless him with wealth. So his wife told him to get second wife. You understand? Because, for many years they married, she has been able to give birth to just a child, and the husband has been spending money on her. So she now decided that the husband should get what? A second wife. Do we understand? So the husband then gave condition that this second wife must be half number one. And number two, she must be what? Virgin. So they now met a sister. Nicobar twice, hijabistically swallowed socks twice. The sister said she is a virgin. That's number one. She's also what? Hamila. What Hafira. She has memorized the Quran. So the wife then talked to her. She accepted. Are we getting it? So the first day they brought the sister to our madrasa, they are not married yet. So the sister came to visit them. So I asked her to recite the Quran. When she recited Quran, deep down me, I know that she's not a Hafida. Do you understand? But I didn't say anything. I said, MashaAllah, may Allah bless her. She used to even threaten her because she lead her in prayer. She would tell her that, give you prayer. Should I carry Surah to Bakara? So, last year, Eid al-Adha, they traveled home. Jamal, are we getting it? When they traveled home, this woman, what was the first wife, Kena, who is about to bring her in, then said, accompany me to go and greet my people. Because they are from the same village. I will not call the village. So she accompanied. When they got to the house, before they knew, she had already entered the compound. So this woman was surprised. Where is this girl that I brought? I'm supposed to lead her in. Before she knew, the girl was already behind making what? So when she finished making, she was now shouting, where is this girl? Where is this girl? So one of the women in the house then said, this is her house. She knows everywhere here. He now said, how come she knows everywhere? He said, look at her boyfriend here. She used to come and spend a month here. In fact, she just spent a week here. And she's a virgin. So, and this woman, she's a no-nonsense woman. The present wife. She don't call her. She said, I thought you said you are a virgin. The woman in the compound, they said, I'll call the boyfriend now. Let's ask him if she's a virgin. Do you understand? So if you say it's virgin that you are looking for, women, they have the means to make themselves virgin. Even if they are not, and you will be thinking that, this girl is a virgin. Meanwhile, they are already done with her. Do you understand? So please, don't say it must be virgin. Ask Allah to give you a good wife. That is all. May Allah continue to guide us. What is the ruling on women taking pills? Just to ease her menstrual pain, there is no problem. As far as the pills will not actually affect her health, there is no problem. Even she can even take pills to stop the menstrual period when necessity. As far as it will not affect her health. Since the essence of waiting for 3 months, menstrual cycle, is to confirm whether she has conceived or not. What if the presence of pregnancy is dictated using what? PT strip within a week? Is she still going to wait for 3 menstrual cycles? Yes. That PT sometimes is fake. I hope you are getting it now. She will still wait for that 3 months. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam Wow. Malam said, please repeat the procedure for taking bath. Want to menstrual bath, you know? We said you get what? 3 forms of water. Oh, 2 types of water. Pure water, then water with what? With sidr. Then you get what? Handkerchief, perfumed with what? With mist. You wash your hand, then wash your private part. Use that sidr water to wash your private part, isn't it? Then you do what? You perform ablution. After you perform ablution, use that sidr water again to wash your head thoroughly 3 times. Then you pour the remaining water on your body. You see that you separate, divide your body into 2, or you pour it on your body like that. After which you now use that handkerchief that is perfumed with what? Mist to, actually rub the traces of what? Of blood, and that is it. Wallahu ta'ala. May Allah continue to guide us. Okay, there's a differentiate between Qabli and Badi. Qabli is when you reduce, so Badi is when you what? When you add. When you reduce and add, you do Qabli. When you reduce and add, you do what? Qabli. Somebody will say it's not possible. It's possible. If you are supposed to sit in the second rakah, you stand up. You now sit in the what? In the third rakah. You have reduced, you have added. Is that okay? So in such case, you do what? Qabli. My own question I want to ask before you ask your question, so that you hold it. The question is, a woman just finished copulating with her husband. She just finished copulating with her husband. Immediately after the copulation, she saw a menstrual cycle, a menstrual period. She saw what? A period. Now, is she going to take bath for that copulation, or she will wait after she finished the menstruation before she takes bath? So if she's going to wait after she finished the menstruation, how many baths is she going to take? My sister wanted to say something before we. Walaikum salam.
Sorry, sir. The topic of divorce, you make mention of putting menstrual cycle before the husband and take her back. What of if the woman needs to do her menstrual cycle twice?
Yes, it's possible. As such case was brought to Ali. And in fact, the woman did her own 3 times in a month. 3 times in a month. And Ali did not fight with her. It's possible. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. May Allah continue to guide us. Whatever I've said, that is now.
What does Islam say about child spacing and child spacing?
There's no problem. You can space your child if, for instance, you because of your health, or you want that what in between your children there should be 2 years interval. There's no problem. But it should not be with the intention of poverty. Don't say that. Somebody will tell you. Just like somebody told her, they say, hey, Mama, this one you have now is okay. The way school fees is hard and the likes. With the consent of the husband. Don't do it because of poverty. Maybe it is because you want your children to be 3 years interval or 2 years interval. There's no problem. Sharia did not actually stop you from that. Do we understand? But maybe because of poverty, because of school fees, Allah said, "Narzuquhum ahum yaksimuna rahmata rabbik." Are they the ones sharing the bounty of your Lord? When you even get married for the sake of Allah, Allah says, "Yakun fukara yughnihimullah." If they are poor, Allah is going to what? Enrich them. So if you get married for the sake of Allah, Allah is going to do what? Allah is going to enrich you. We have seen people who got married with 0 naira, but wallahi, they became what? Allah blessed them with wealth. I'll give you just 3 instances, then we'll call it. We'll stop and we'll come to conclusion, inshallah.
No more questions.
Yes. Holding the Quran, yes. And what's the difference between full Quran and half Quran? Hukmul juz'i, hukmu al-kulli. The rule governing a part is the same rule governing what? The entirety. So anything that can make you to hold part of the Quran should also make you to hold what? The entirety. So some of the scholars say you cannot hold the Quran because Allah says, "La yamassuhu But the scholars of Tafsir, all of them said he's talking to the angel. And this particular expression is khabar. It's not nahi. Had it been his prohibition, it would be la yamassahu. That dumma on the sin will be what? Will be what? Will be with father. So Allah is giving, information about the angels. But somebody will now say, what about the hadith that the Prophet said, la yamassal Qur'ana illa tahir. Some of the scholars say the hadith is not authentic. Al-Albani said the hadith is authentic. Nobody touches the Quran except that person that is pure. And the Prophet himself also said, Al-Mu'min la yanjus. So for the fact that you are observing menstruation does not mean that except Tawaf. She should do everything so she can hold what? Quran. What about entering the masjid? This one scholars differ. Do we understand? So that some of the scholars say she can enter the masjid when necessity. Because the Prophet ﷺ kept Sauda in the masjid for 6 months. He said that she was not menstruating. I hope you are getting the concept. So when necessity necessitates, they are holding serious programs in the masjid. You can come to the masjid and benefit. May Allah Ta'ala continue to guide us. Yes. Allah. No, Albani says she does not have prayer. اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما يحول به بيننا اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما يحول بيننا وبين معصيك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن اليقين ما تحول به علينا مصيبات الدنيا ومتعنا بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقوتنا ما أحييتنا واجعله الوارث منا واجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا وانصرنا على من عادانا ولا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا تسلط علينا من لا يرحمنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا. We really appreciate. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward our ustaz this life and hereafter. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase in knowledge, and the Almighty Allah grant each and every one of us here